Donald Trump's brain is broken. At this point, it is simply undeniable. To claim that Donald Trump isn't in a state of rapid cognitive decline is to ignore every single word he utters, every action he takes, and every unhinged post he has made throughout this entire second term. Donald Trump is literally falling apart before our very eyes, and that is exactly what we witnessed in a sickening and disturbing interview this morning. Donald Trump looked gross. He looked sweaty, he looked exhausted, and he was clearly confused. He couldn't even recall the basic details of his own presidency, a terrifying trend that we are seeing more and more of lately. This is precisely why medical experts are now joining both Democratic and Republican members of Congress to push for the 25th Amendment. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. We need it now more than ever. We are going to dive deep into that effort right after we look at some of these interview clips, because honestly, they are just that bad. But I want to start with a massive, overarching lie that has defined Donald Trump's presidency, right before we get to the specific moment where his memory just completely failed him.
Do you still donate your salary, and if so, who's it going to?
I do. Much of it goes to the White House preservation. You know, I fix things up. You might have seen the path outside. Did you see it?
I know about it. I have not personally walked on it.
I'll let you take a look at it later. It's beautiful, beautiful black granite. It was stone that was all broken and terrible shape. The White House was not properly maintained. You think a guy like Joe Biden would maintain it? He didn't know he was alive, but I do. I'm very good. I was a great real estate developer, and I can fix things and make them look beautiful, pay for it myself. But no, I devote 100% of my salary to different things, but I like White House.
This is the go-to line that conservatives always fall back on whenever we talk about how Donald Trump has used and abused the presidency for his own personal gain. Oh, but he donates his salary. He donates his salary. Give me a break. Look, in our economic system, donations from billionaires who have profited massively by exploiting our labor actually infuriate me. Aside from someone like Mackenzie Scott, I genuinely hate seeing billionaires make these grand donations. It's always the same story. Billionaire donates $50 million to cancer research. Well, guess what? If we actually taxed billionaires at the effective rate we are supposed to, we wouldn't need to depend on their charity because we'd be able to fully fund cancer research ourselves. So no, I'm not going to sit here and praise you for some tax loophole you found just to satisfy your own vanity. I really don't care. Just tax these people. I don't want to have to beg for their generosity. And as for Donald Trump donating his salary, who cares? He is the most corrupt president in American history. He steals from us constantly. He has used the highest office in the land to profit massively for himself. The idea that his salary donation makes up for that is completely nonsensical. Just as nonsensical as the absolute garbage he said in this next clip.
I ended 8 wars, and to a point where the woman, a very good woman too, Maria, she received the Nobel Peace Prize, and she said, I received it. The only one that should get it is Donald Trump. I didn't know her. Then it was very nice, very gracious, actually. But I ended, think of it, I ended 8 wars. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. Just as I'm walking into the room, I see the S&P hit a brand new high during a so-called war. I call it a military conflict because it was pretty easy. We have the greatest military in the world. You look at Venezuela, you look at Iran, look at what we wiped out their navy in 1 week. 159 ships at the bottom of the sea. We wiped out their air force. We wiped out their everything. We wiped out their leaders, I guess, maybe most importantly. But we have the greatest military anywhere in the world.
I ended 8 wars, and they were 8 beautiful wars, lovely wars. And I just said, well, we've got to end these wars. And then he goes on about the Peace Prize, how everyone is begging him to take it, and he's acting like he doesn't want it but secretly craves it. It is honestly embarrassing that he keeps coming back to this fantasy. He's obsessed with the idea of all these imaginary wars he stopped, while completely ignoring the actual conflicts he needs to address. What happened to fixing the situation in Ukraine on day 1? Remember that? We were told it would be a wrap, that it was all Joe Biden's fault, and that Donald Trump was the only genius who could solve it. And then, nothing. It didn't happen. Every single promise Donald Trump made on the campaign trail was a lie, and that is exactly how we need to frame them. Donald Trump hasn't just broken promises, he lied his way through an entire campaign specifically to avoid a prison cell and to siphon billions of dollars out of the presidency. He's so detached from reality that he literally can't even remember his own term in office. When he was asked about a specific bit of corruption he claimed he was going to tackle earlier in his presidency, he just completely blanked. He forgot. You can see his response was not just confused, it was absolutely idiotic.
What happened to the audit of Fort Knox?
Which one are you talking about?
There was, I think when you first got into office, you and Elon Musk talked about auditing
Well,
the
we
gold to
wanted
make
to go
sure it's
knock
there.
on the door, Fort Knox, very thick door, and to see whether or not we have any gold in there, because we'll take a look at it. It's a very interesting question, yeah. We played with that. I wonder if they left the gold in Fort Knox, because they steal a lot.
No need to really do that, though?
Well, I don't know. I think it's... I do want to go to Fort Knox sometime. I want to see if the gold is there, which I'm sure it will be.
He can't even keep track of the lies he told on the campaign trail anymore. And the ones he does remember, he basically uses to attack his own record. He's essentially saying, well, quite frankly, we hate affordability. I know I promised to lower energy costs, but gas is $8 now. So do you like that? Who cares? And that is a near direct reflection of what Trump actually said about gas prices. He literally asked, who cares if they continue to go up? Well, clearly not Donald Trump and not the billionaire class in his administration. But hey, great. Trump couldn't even remember the Fort Knox thing, which was one of those idiotic ideas proposed by him and Musk. The claim was that they'd magically find trillions of dollars in fraud, fix everything, and it would all be fantastic. That is Donald Trump's entire concept of legislating. Not only has this been the most corrupt administration in history, it has also been the most incompetent. It's the same story with the Republican Congress. These people don't want to work. They have no interest in getting their jobs done or doing anything for our benefit. We know that. But the truth is, they don't even know how to govern. So, Donald Trump offers up these moronic solutions that might sound smart to someone with half a brain, like busting down the doors of Fort Knox or chasing after supposed fraud in Minnesota. Meanwhile, it was actually Joe Biden's administration that was prosecuting that fraud. Joe Biden actually did the work to tackle corruption. Donald Trump causes it. Donald Trump creates it. And now, Trump is going to claim that JD Vance will track down enough fraud to fix the national budget? That is never going to happen. The man can't even recall the details of his own presidency. And to that reporter, are you really reminding him of another idiotic quest he's going to go on? Remember when Trump wanted to remodel Alcatraz? That is his entire presidency in a nutshell. Remodeling, corruption, and stealing. It's why, on top of so many other reasons, medical professionals are now sounding the alarm and calling for the 25th Amendment.
Three dozen medical experts say Trump, mentally unfit, should be removed from office with greatest urgency. 3 dozen medical experts who believe Donald Trump is mentally unfit to perform his duties have written a letter outlining their concerns, which was submitted to the congressional record. The 36 neurologists, psychiatrists, and other mental health professionals said in the letter that they have seen objectively observable signs of serious medical concerns in Trump, including a deterioration of cognitive function, grandiose and delusional beliefs, and severely impaired judgment and impulse control, of which he used to have very little and now he has none. Emphasizing that he presents a clear and present danger to our country and to the world, the letter concludes, "It is our expert opinion that Donald Trump is mentally unfit to be the President of the United States and that steps to remove him from office must be undertaken with the greatest urgency, with vital responsibilities on the shoulders of those in positions of leadership." No one in the group examined Trump face to face, the letter said. Although, you don't have to. I think you can kind of just get a read. Although Donald Trump's last medical visit, his last physical, which he's late on by the way, said he was fully fit to be commander-in-chief. Who believes that though? Among the signatories was Dr. George Drinker, a clinical associate professor of psychiatry at the Oregon
This isn't
Health
me
and
just
Science University
living out
in
or
Portland.
being dramatic.
Members
And it
of the group
certainly
hold
isn't
both
Trump
conservative
derangement
and
syndrome.
liberal
This is what the
ideologies and
science
are
is
from
telling
different
us.
backgrounds,
Donald Trump is
races,
completely
ethnicities,
out of
and
it.
religions,
His
the
brain
letter
is
said.
clearly
Rhode
broken
Island
and
Senators
something
Sheldon
needs to be
Whitehouse
done.
and
This
Jack
is
Reed,
pure
both
science.
Democrats,
The issue of
submitted the
impulse
letter
control
into the
is vital
congressional
here.
record
When I
last
talk
week.
about Donald Trump's cognitive decline, I'm often pointing out how he's falling asleep in public, slurring his speech, or the fact that he can't remember anything from 1 minute to the next. But the lack of impulse control, moving from a low filter guy to a no filter guy, is perhaps the most dangerous thing possible while we are in the middle of a war. The science is clear. These are medical professionals and scientists speaking out, and they all agree. In that interview, Donald Trump sounded like he was waking up after having way too many drinks the night before. Honestly, that's how I used to look after a heavy night out. But now, as I've been sharing with you all, especially since I'm on the road right now, things are different. I'm in Los Angeles having a great time seeing friends. I'm seeing Brian Tyler Cohen later tonight, and I saw Jennifer Welch last night. Shout out to all my LA friends. But if you want to wake up and not feel the way Donald Trump looked in that interview, I highly recommend Z-Biotics pre-alcohol. There is a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinks, and that is Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle those rough mornings after drinking. Here's the deal. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's the buildup of that byproduct, not dehydration, like most people think, that is responsible for those rough days after drinking. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break down that toxic byproduct. So, just remember to make Z-Biotics your very first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you will feel so much better tomorrow. I went out last night in the Los Feliz area. Anyone familiar with the Dresden Room? I had a couple of drinks, watched some great live music, and had a blast. And you know what? I woke up and felt perfectly fine to make these videos for you today. Because unlike Donald Trump, I'm not falling apart. There's so much to do in May. Wedding season is here and everyone is spending time outside. It's a necessity at this point if you're going out for a few, especially if you aren't 23 years old anymore. So, head over to zbiotics.com/Liam to learn more. You'll get 15% off your first order when you use the code Liam at checkout. ZBiotics is backed by a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you, no questions asked. Again, that is zbiotics.com/Liam and use code Liam at checkout for 15% off. Let's trust the science here, which is the exact opposite of what Donald Trump was doing in this wild clip about RFK Jr. It was absolute nonsense.
A woman named Katie Talento, if I'm saying her name correctly, who recently stated that in 2017 she worked for you, and her job was to keep Bobby Kennedy as far from the West Wing as possible after you had agreed to a vaccine safety commission. Did you know about that? She's published on that the last couple of days. She says she's apologizing for that, basically. Did you know that at the time that there was somebody supposedly tasked with keeping Bobby Kennedy away?
No, I didn't. He's doing a good job. I think Bobby, people love him. I didn't know about that.
Do you think there should be a vaccine safety commission?
A commission on what?
Vaccine safety, something to examine, something like
Look,
he
I
proposed
believe
back
in
then.
vaccines, but I don't believe that, you have to have a mandate for all of them. The polio vaccine's amazing. It's, wiped it out. And I believe in vaccines, but, I think we were up to 88 vaccines. And I really feel that vaccines, if they were given in smaller quantities, they want to cut some out, and that's good too. And I agree with that. 82 is too many. If you look at Denmark and other countries, you have 12, 14, I think 17. And we have like 82. But I look at these beautiful little babies and they get a vat, so like a big glass of stuff pumped into their bodies. And I think it's a very negative thing to do. And I would like to see it. I'm not doing this in terms of Bobby or not. I hope they agree with that, but that's just my opinion. I would love to see much smaller shots, like 4 visits to the doctor.
He is truly a madman. He is deranged. He is completely out of it. And let's be clear, this isn't just some lib take. It's not just the left saying this. It is the plain, objective truth. Donald Trump needs to go. It is officially time for the 25th Amendment. Any member of the cabinet who isn't moving forward with this right now should have that cowardice held against them for the rest of their professional careers. What is happening right now is a total disgrace to our country. We are going to continue to call out this insanity on this show every single day. If you want to support our mission, as always, please hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you've stuck around with me until the very end, drop a blue heart in the comments so I know you're with us. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I am Liam Prescott, and I'll see you in the next one.